might as well. Just get right into it. Not flubbing about. Yeah, I am good? A cup. Yeah. Are you sounding good? You sound great. You sound great.
Oh, thanks, dude. You sound good.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm going to start my DJ services pretty soon.
Get some leg for sure.
No, yeah. I'm trying to be chill today. I am a couple edibles in. So
okay,
I am super fuzzy. I have my vape pen. So I'm going to be highly medicated. I'm going to try and stay super mellow. My cringe. Almost every minute of every day, I want to take down the videos. Especially that last one. I lost my cool, and I don't like it. I don't like it. I talked to Mike last night, the night before last, and I was asked him. He hadn't watched any of it. He's doing good. I was like, man, I'm really an asshole. And he goes, no, you've always been really opinionated. And I went, oh, no, that means I'm an asshole. It's okay. I get it.
No. Don't ever change. Don't ever change.
I need to, for my cringe sake. I need to, and my heart, my blood pressure has been a little bit high. I need to. I'm on chemo. I don't know if you noticed. I'm on. I'm not healthy, so I'm trying to just.
That's a better reason. That's the better reason.
The other
for
thing,
maintaining your calm.
Yeah. And the other thing that I've noticed here in the last 24 hours, I mean, some stuff happened in the last, was it 24 hours? 48? Anyway, last couple of days.
48, yeah. Some stuff happened.
Stuff happened, and I'm in that, you know how you can run around at the last minute and try and get a whole bunch of shit done? Just the last minute stuff, you're trying to get it all done.
Up? Damn, what's up? You went
Are we
quiet
frozen?
For a second. No, I don't think so.
Am I here?
Yeah, you are here. It seemed like your audio cut out for just a second, but I don't know if it was yours or mine.
Ooh.
So I'm just gonna do this and that'll fix it. Excellent.
Yeah,
ready
we good?
to rock.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, you know how you have something scheduled or you have a goal and you know it's getting down to the last second and you're running around trying to get stuff done, that kind of frenzied feeling. Well, it is now at this point in my mind, well, it's after the fact. The due date is come and gone. Anything that could have been done to improve the situation has been done, and now it's just the sullen dread of inevitability that has descended over my consciousness. I spent a lot of the morning just kind of walking around the house, picking out tasks and enjoying my space. The other thing I'm having to internalize is that even with all the craziness, I, above and beyond all of that, missed my window to be able to quickly sell the house for a lot of money and get out. That's the housing market here has crashed. I don't see it going up for any length of time. So I'm trying to internalize that I'm going to be here, but I'm also good with it. I'm at the same time recognizing I'm having to realign my focus, my goal in what I was trying to do. Yeah, my time frame, and I'm realizing that it's a lot longer now, and I need to just take a deep breath, make this space as comfortable and as efficient as possible, go through chemo, and just relax and try and get caught up. So I'm just trying to slowly get caught up. I have all the windows, all the windows and curtains open today, to the chagrin of my air conditioner. But I needed to get some light in here. And wanted some light in here to yeah, I'll make it work. I just having to reassessing everything. Yeah. And it is It is. So I'm experiencing dread and surrender, and just kind of trying to squish that into acceptance and whatever guidance I can make of my boat, my meat flesh sack through space time.
I think you said it all.
Yeah. There we go. Okay, that's it. We're good. I'll see you next week. How are you? That's that. I just bleh. I just dumped all that.
We might as well do a little review, so that we can catch people up and whatnot. Let's see what adventures have I had lately. We didn't do a Smarmcast last. No, we did do a Smarmcast last week after I got back.
Yes, that was
Washington D.C.
I was particularly grumpy and uncomfortable and cringeworthy in that one. Thank you very much. But luckily, only 7 people, including us, probably a few times, have seen it. So at the moment, I'm
until it goes viral.
Wow. If anything either of us did ever went viral, which I think was one of the, if we're going to slightly dip into politics, was probably on the mind of a shooter, that going viral, being able to be famous, to make a mark, whether or for whatever other motivation he had, I think played into it. I am not that guy. I do not want to make a viral mark on the internet.
We break all the rules of viral. Right?
Yeah. I am having heart palpitations just processing being
our memes are not contagious. They are not catching. Our memes are about as contagious as, I don't think, the least contagious thing you can think of, or the opposite of contagious. That's our memes.
We are the opposite. We are not charming, not clever, not humorous, not sexy enough. Whatever it is that we don't have that makes other people viral, we don't have. And on top of that, I'm actually okay with that. I don't have the energy. I would, if for some reason any of this went viral, no. I'm good. I'm good with where we are at the moment. Unless that viral comes with money, boy, it better come with a lot of money, because I know a lot of people that go viral and they're still poor and dealing with the chaos of the Eye of Sauron. Yeah. And it doesn't go well. It doesn't go well. They don't look happy. I don't want that.
So this last week I was in Vegas. And
right. Yes, you were.
Yeah, trying to think of my fantastic adventures in Vegas.
Were you there at work or for
no.
vacation?
This was just a little. It was just a little thing that Tina and I thought we would do, and we dragged one of her friends along.
Nice.
And we just bopped out there for no good reason. And I didn't do any gambling. Tina discovered penny slots. She loves the penny slots.
You should just invest whatever, like 16 grand in whatever they cost, and buy one and bring it home, and get it out that way.
The thrill is gone. You got to have the ability to win the occasional quarter.
Okay.
And as far as I know, though her whole angle was just so that she could, because when you're sitting at the machines in a nice, one of the more high-profile casinos, if you're just sitting in a machine, it doesn't matter if you're only paying pennies, and it doesn't even matter if you're only hitting the button every other minute. They're still going to come up and say, have a drink on the house. What can we bring you to drink? What can we bring you to drink? Obviously, you tip the cocktail waitress, and that's great. But she was just getting her rum and cokes for free, and walked out of the casino pretty mellow.
I could see that. If you could set up a camera in between you, and you could do it at the same time and vlog while you're doing it, that would be awesome. Free drinks and vlog. Not that it would help you, but free drinks and a nice space with flashing lights.
Has
Interesting
anybody
background.
ever streamed or podcasted out of a casino? I wonder if it's allowed.
Dad used to watch What the Hales. His last name was Hale. And him and his wife and I think it was just mostly him and his wife would go to the quarter push machines. So they wouldn't show them. It would just show the quarter push machine, and they would talk in the background and push the quarters so that it made the quarters fall off the money fall off the end. And so they would vlog about stuff while they were doing that. But I don't know if they were at a casino. I think they were like at an Indian reservation.
Those, yeah, you don't have to be in a casino for those because those aren't technically gambling. They don't fall under gaming.
Ah, so that's what they used to do. Dad would watch a lot of that and their banter. He enjoyed their banter. So, go for it.
About the witty banter.
Yeah. It was apparently because they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and they're one of their main things is doing that
quarters fall.
Push. Maybe it's a Zen experience, just watching that and hearing someone talk and play. It's probably like watching people play poker, which I used to do when it first went on TV and it was super dramatic. I used to watch the Texas Hold'em.
Funny that you'd mentioned that. They had the World Series of Poker going on at the Paris, which is where we stayed. Yeah.
Nice.
But did I watch any of that? No.
Yeah.
No, one of the things I did do, since busking is legal in Las Vegas, I went ahead and took my guitar out
Sure.
to the street and played. Now, that was an interesting experience all by itself because I don't use any amplification when I go out there and do that sort of thing. One thing, I don't want to be obnoxious, right? So I'm just out there, I'm all acoustic.
A busker that doesn't want to be obnoxious. Yeah. That's all right. That's all right. I'm just seeing the humor in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just seeing the humor.
Well, all of it down the strip, you got people, a lot of them who look maybe one or two steps above homeless. Frankly, I don't mean to judge, but that's just what it is. They're doing busking like, well, they've all got PA systems, small, but they've all got PA systems. They're all battery powered, obviously, and they're playing their music, what I would consider to be louder than in good taste. I don't know how they've got the battery power to do this, frankly, but they do, and they go all day. And it's quite a cacophony as you walk down the strip.
I can imagine it's like an MMO walking through town. Everybody.
Yeah, and I can understand how you want to be a little bit above the sound of traffic because you've got cars going by, but that's not even completely going all the time. Sometimes the traffic is loud, sometimes it's not.
They don't want to be above the traffic. They want to attract attention.
They really do.
Over here.
And that's what they're doing. And so they turn up, like I said, past the point of obnoxious. And so finding a spot along the strip that was decently quiet was kind of tricky at first. And I'm walking past, like I said, guys who want to be DJs who are just playing some jackass house music. They're not even really DJing; they're just playing jackass house music. They got their little hat out there. Like, this takes a lot of talent. Look at me go!
I'm doing stuff.
Then you've got karaoke singers who are just dreadful. Sorry, again, I don't mean to judge, but the tracks are crap, the mic is crap, the effects are crap, and the vocals are crap. Everything about it is crap, and it's too loud. So you're walking past that. What, talk about a cringe fest? Shh, give me a break. You'll have the occasional family kind of a situation. I saw more than one of those. I don't know if I should say anything about this. I'm going to go ahead and say it. They looked like they might have been illegal immigrants. They might have been legal immigrants. I don't want to say that they looked like they were illegals. They were just one or two steps above homeless looking. Hopefully, they weren't homeless.
They matched a stereotype.
Yeah, and they were singing in a different language and singing music of a different culture. So and there you go. And that was also done to karaoke tracks, which they would have, somebody playing a bongo or something, or some other bit of percussion and a tambourine, and then that was it. That's their show. Again, turned up to be past the point of obnoxious, and it was just heinous. So I'm walking down the strip, and I go, I don't know, probably 200 or 300 feet past one outfit that was going, and they were just horrible. And I'm going, okay, I'll get myself outside of earshot of them, and this we find out. And there it was. Found my spot. So I'm playing, and I'm watching people walk by me. And for the people that were coming from the direction of that other, what do you call it, show? I'm going, I know what you've been listening to, and what you're hearing right now should just be like such a breath of wonderful. And for the people coming in the other direction, I'm going, well, I don't know what you've been listening to, but I know what you're about to hear, and it's going to make you wish that you were, 300 feet back all over again. Like, let's do that walk again, because that was nice, and this is making my ears bleed. And so I'm watching these people kind of with that in the back of my head as I'm playing, and they all just walk by as if, oh my God, you're a busker, but you're certainly not the best busker we've ever heard. That person that we just heard 300 feet down the way, that's way better. Or from the other direction, they're going, oh, you're a busker, but you're not the best busker we've ever heard, and I bet the next person we hear is going to be just awesome. That's the look on their face as they walk by. And I'm going, okay, well, look, I'm only here to make a connection with somebody. I don't have my case out. I'm not gonna screw with that. I just want anybody to come up and say, "Oh my God, your music touched me. Your voice touched me," or that song that you're playing right now is one of my favorite songs forever. I just love that. I got nothing out of Vegas.
Yeah. In my head, I instantly I'm remembering Manti and the Pods. Wrong entertainment for the wrong entertainment at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Why would the Vegas be the wrong entertainment at the wrong time? I'm just playing, Margaritaville. Actually, I'm playing a lot more than that, but you get the idea.
But downtown Melbourne, that would be top of the line. In Vegas, they're looking for the freak shows, right? They're not there because Vegas is normal, right?
I don't know.
They're there for the freak show. So if you're walking down the strip and there's just a guy playing nice music, and then there's another guy doing the all-in-one band that sounds like shit, but he's got the kick drums on his back and the squeak things, and he's making this scene. They're going to work.
If there had been anybody actually doing that, it would have been a thing.
Sure.
A guy like that's got some talent, and he's doing his thing, and he's all acoustic. We're not talking about that. Vegas was people, like I said, who could very easily pass as homeless with tiny little battery-powered PAs set to way too loud, singing karaoke tracks that stank out loud through a microphone that should have just been shoved up their ass, and with vocals that were, I'm so sorry to judge, but just please stop amplifying your voice.
And you're disappointed in humanity for not recognizing true culture. I don't know how that feels. You're disappointed in primates that don't recognize good things. Yeah, I feel you.
If I was to go back to Vegas and play a gig somewhere, book a gig, I'm sure that they'll be just like going, "Ah, you're the most amazing thing ever." I can't believe it. Because that's what I usually get playing around.
Sure.
In FLA.
Around, right? Yes. Different vibe, different expectation. I don't know. I'm disappointed by humanity all the time. So, yep. Sorry about that.
Well, I tried to. Anyway, it was.
Although,
Other than that, the Vegas experience was lovely. I went to a place called Meow Wolf World, and I can't give any spoilers on that. But all I can say about Meow Wolf World is, I'd like to go back to Vegas and take you there.
Meow Wolf World.
Yes,
It sounds anime. It sounds like a universe in anime.
There is a lot of anime there.
So, cosplay girls with tails and cat ears, I'm guessing?
Could have been some of that, yeah.
Yeah, yes, I just assume. I have just finished, and you won't know what this is, but it'll be extremely... It's cringe, but it's so stupid and so base and so soft. I just finished a series called High School D&D. I think there's 4 seasons.
I think we live in that.
It's an anime series. Yeah, no, we did not live this. High School D&D has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with D&D.
Oh, damn it!
It is no, except that it's an anime about a kid in high school that gets accidentally, I can't even remember because I'm usually super high and it's so stupid. He gets recruited by devils, but the head devil is a senior in high school, big red hair, giant boobs, and she's all good, and it's a whole series of him grabbing boobs and them being naked and him having to defend it. Very anime, lots of big boobs, lots of mewling girls.
I love big boobs.
If you were 16 and your male anime fantasy, if you had to make it, this would probably have been it. So it's so base, it's so cringe that it's funny over the top, and it's something I've just been watching to just, if you don't want any intelligence that you're seeing or intaking, that's the one. High School D&D. It's got lots of naked anime girls and lots of sexually uncomfortable sort of situations. High School D&D. Get you some. It's fun. If you want something that just has... Get you some. Yep. It's a contrast to the news. It's a contrast to the internet, to this. So it's I'm having to really balance hard the other way.
A great escape from real life, then.
It's about as far from it as you could get. About as far from it. But I'm also in the house alone a lot because I'm still, my immune system is still garbage, and I feel like garbage. So when you're alone for a long time, but it's a great space. Yeah, I'm not going to complain. Except I have it up at 80, and it can't keep up with 79. And it can just keep up with 80.
Have you been messing around at all with the AI image editors, image generators, I should say? AI image generators?
I have not.
Oh my God.
I did our Smarmy Bastards logo a while ago. I was trying to get... Thank you. I did mess with it a little bit, but lately I haven't. That takes effort to put in to get a result out, and I am really at just the passively absorbed photons from the screen kind of time in my life. After the 2-3 weeks after chemo, I'm just like I'm not, and I say I'm not into that 2 or 3 weeks after chemo. I haven't played a video game in months. I've watched other people play video games. I've watched videos of video games being worked on, but actually having the energy to input direction into a game to get the funness out of it, I don't have that. Whatever that is, the chemo has cauterized that right out of my skull.
Bloody hell.
So I just try and enjoy everything else.
It'll come back.
It's given me that I'm trying to hug my situation and just trying the things that I do find enjoying. I'm trying to just lean into that until I get my brains back.
Mm-hmm. The only reason I'm asking is because you were talking about girls with big boobs and big hair. And,
girls with big boobs, yes, big boobs, big hair.
And that was pretty much where I went immediately with the AI image generator and.
Yeah.
Yeah.
OnlyFans girls are going to be gone. They're just not going to be able to make it.
I've never been an OnlyFan, or I should say a fan for an OnlyFans girl. I've never been one of those fans. I wasn't where I went, to get my internet porn pay, but the AI image generator. I mean, if I was a little wanker, I would be going out of my mind.
You'd be little wanking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Humanity. Did I know I mentioned the story of the beetle that was mating with the beer bottles?
Oh yeah.
There's a certain beetle in Australia, I think, that mates with other beetles, and they look like they're shiny and dimpled and brown. And so the particular bottle that kept throwing up beer bottle, the beetles were mating with the bottles, and their species was dying out.
Yes, we can accidentally, we can purposely or accidentally screw with the biological imperatives of.
Yes. Guess where we're at?
Other life forms. Yes.
We are way more complicated, way more intelligent, way more nuanced than a beetle. But our technology has now outpaced our biology. And we are essentially making the beer bottles that we're going to mate with until we go extinct. I'm generally fine with it. Generally okay.
The Beatles are probably going, man, I wish we would have thought of that.
Yeah.
We could have been doing this the whole time. What the hell?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They don't complain. I don't have to chase them. Man, this is great. They just stay there. And then they mate with them and slowly starve to death. So, yeah, I'm okay with it. Less people are okay. I remember at one point, and I think we've had this conversation before, that and also Elon Musk makes the argument that we need more brains to be able to solve harder problems.
That would be ideal.
A collapse in population. I know there is an angle to go from that says it would be bad because we would lose intelligence. But with AI, we don't have that problem anymore.
We might not.
So it was described to me by and said by several people that are super smart that the new AI is like having unlimited graduate students at the tip of your fingers. So not the most experienced, but fully educated, fully where you could just make a graduate student go do a thesis and it would come back as graduate student level thesis. And that's where AI is right now.
Interesting that we come into this thread because there was something, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
yeah, go for it.
There was that one video that I shared with you where the AIs were debating and then the debate answers were evaluated by other AIs.
Right.
It was a debate around the God hypothesis. I said disconcerting in my text to you because of the rankings that the other AIs had given the arguments, and that effectively the AI arguing on behalf of or arguing to assert the God hypothesis got a higher marginally, only tiny bit, but higher
Yeah.
rating by the other AIs with regards to its answers. And I thought, so does that mean that the other AIs effectively suggested that AI asserting for the God hypothesis won the debate?
Yes. Sure.
Yeah.
Now you have to you have to remember that the AI is being trained on arguments from the internet.
Right.
And there is going to be a volume bias, the amount of arguments that exist on one side and the volume of arguments that exist on the other side, or whatever. There has been religious arguments way longer. There are reams and reams of fantasy books, and you don't have to have as many textbooks, right? There's only so many ways to say 2 + 2 = 4, and there are a lot of ways to describe how many unicorns fit inside the nut of a demon, or whatever. The angels on the head of a pin. So there's unlimited stories of that. So there's that, and then it's just the arguments were altogether. My disappointment was that I'm expecting an AI that's more intelligent than us to see and have better arguments, to see patterns that we didn't see. And I didn't see a single new presentation of anything. It was like a droll reading off of arguments, and one. I didn't like. I wouldn't have rated either of them winners. On the atheist side, it was so pat and generic and obvious that it was. I was like. I would argue against that argument. It's not a good one. And the AI in defense of God was all assertion. I mean, every answer had giant assertions in there, which is what people that are religious use as arguments. They assert that there had to be a prime mover, right? And they never want to go before that, so what made God? So there was always the half arguments and assertions, the same ones. So that's where I got disappointed. It was the same arguments that primates have been making about religion, and that never moved me. So none of the arguments to me were worth anything and a new look. But it was interesting that the AI was rating arguments and how it rated them. So I did see that was interesting. And a little disconcerting that it would rate higher the arguments with more unsubstantiated assertions. But then I'm looking at the internet going, well, that's what we've got, so why am I surprised? It seemed pretty obvious.
I thought that the arguments from the atheist side were very cogent, and it may have only been my bias here, but I felt like the AI arguing atheism hit it out of the park. The AI...
Well, it's just repeating the same arguments that people make.
But very, very cogently and very articulately, and frankly, far more cogently and articulate than I could at my 55 years old. The AI arguing on behalf of the God hypothesis also did a great job with delivering a good argument, but there's two things. Number one, in my humble opinion, and again, this could just be my bias talking, I didn't feel like their argument was enough to refute the assertions made by the atheist AI. And
right.
Second, there was absolutely nothing at all in the arguments for the AI asserting God hypothesis to suggest that you then have to go and read the Bible and live by the Bible and do everything the Bible says. There was literally no mention of it. So that there's always that giant leap that people take from the point of God is, real and God is good. Okay. And
How?
so that follows to what?
Yeah.
And that follows to now you're going to, believe in the Bible and have original sin and Jesus is your Savior. And I'm going, whoa.
Where did that come from? Yeah. You got a narrative. You got a story that's separate from all that other stuff. Yeah.
That's God hypothesis is one thing. Bible, what'd you call that? Bible lore, absolutism. That's a whole extra 10 miles past.
Right. Well, there's Marvel, and then there's DC, and then there's the Abrahamic universe. So you got a whole bunch of comic book universes, and and that particular comic book was actually not even referenced, and you have to do a leap to go from there's genetic experimentation to the fact that there's Spider-Man. That's a leap.
That is.
I agree. It wasn't what I was, I guess, expecting an AI or what I would want to see an AI do in the arena of arguing reality of a truth. What arguing of a truth, the air quotes, it only made the same arguments that I've always heard.
Well,
like,
here's one little thought that I'll.
We haven't been able to figure that out with the arguments we've already heard, so AI isn't helping there. AI needs to do more to push us along.
I will toss out one more little idea to you, just with regards to that only, in that I've wondered how, if the AI could have been trained on the internet of 2005, how that argument would have ended up. And I thought, the AI would have probably lost the atheist AI probably would have lost the debate even more in 2005, or definitely 2000. So I'm wondering if there's progress being made, and if we revisit the AI debating theism contest again another 5-10 years, if it will come out different. And only different in that how it's evaluated. Because the arguments, they're age-old. I don't think anybody's going to, bing, have an epiphany and then be able to deliver that one argument that totally sells it, or, for one way or the other. It's just going to be, eventually the consensus on the people evaluating the arguments is going to be, oh yeah, atheist wins that one. Or oh yes, definitely I got to stop living in this fairy tale.
Probably. I would push back or question why you would think that the God argument would have won back in the 2000s. I'm remembering, because you're based on the internet was what you were suggesting, right? Based on the internet, what it was, because back then, back when I first started doing YouTube was a atheist party. It was just that you had some, because you had to be a nerd and be tech savvy, and generally tech savvy nerds are more atheistic. And if you have atheists that are trying to push back against an already religious media overtone, so you're going to have angry atheists that know how to work a gadget that nobody else does. So at the beginning, there was a ton more atheist videos. I don't know about internet content, but still the internet. I'm just wondering if do you still think that there was more religious content online back then than atheist content, even though that the techie nerds were the ones that invented the internet to exchange between colleges information? You still think there was more?
The Bible is the all-time best-selling book of.
Right, but it wasn't uploaded then. I remember when the Bible got uploaded, and then there was. It
was uploaded early. The Bible.
The Blue Letter Bible.
It was
right, but it was uploaded as images. Sure, it was uploaded. I guess AI wouldn't matter if you took AI back then, and took it back in time. Okay, maybe you're right.
The text of the Bible was one of the first things uploaded. For all I know, it may
Right.
have been one of the first things uploaded.
Yeah.
Because, Lord God knows, the Bible was the first thing printed on a fucking printing press.
Printing press,
Age
yeah.
restricted us.
Right.
So it was a...
Okay,
it just
maybe you're
wasn't
right.
on
Yeah.
our radar at the time.
Yeah, I think you that's a good argument. You probably are right. You probably had more.
Now, to be totally fair, what you're talking about the YouTube video thing, and yes, in the mid to late aughts and around 2010, I felt like the jury was in argumentarily wise. There was no theist getting on YouTube without getting their ass completely handed to them in terms of arguments. There was
They were
nobody.
getting crushed.
and they still haven't. There's still nobody who can just get right up and argue that. I mean,
No, it's
closest
still
they could-
silliness.
the closest they could get would be to go in and take the text from that AI, the theist AI, and deliver that word for word. That's the best argument they could possibly deliver
Right.
to argue the God hypothesis, and that would still get shut down, in my humble opinion, by the atheist AI. The atheist AI's arguments. I felt like
Right.
that was my bias again. Was still strong.
So, yeah, then you get to the point where what is AI looking at? How is it programmed? Because religion generally doesn't care about physics. It asserts magic, and if you're taking the rules of religion to argue religion, and then taking the rules of physics to argue atheism, you're arguing two different universes, and even an AI is never going to bridge that gap because you're arguing apples and oranges. But if an AI is restricted to following physics, the measured reality of everything else but the stories, then atheism will dominate everything because it follows physics, whereas religion asserts powers without any measurable, in fact, measurable almost to the opposite. And so I think, in the future, AI, if it's
yes.
yeah, but if it's aligned to argue to steel man each side, if you're steel manning religion, you're not arguing physics, you're arguing the premise of the story. And if you're steel manning science, that is physics. And so that's one of the things I was disappointed with that AI argument between the theist and the atheist. It didn't do anything new, and I don't think it's going to be able to do anything new. Or if it does something new, if it does something new, it will add it new in such a way that it's so manipulative that no matter if it's towards science or towards religion, it's going to be a beer bottle, and we're going to fuck it till we die. So once it hits that, but it hasn't hit that yet. If I'm looking at that atheist thing and going and theist argument and going, either it's so advanced that I don't know, it just manipulated me and is telling me to do something, or it's just not there yet. And I'm actually not confident that I would recognize when we cross the line.
I don't know. The thing I felt was most interesting about the whole video was just that there was the two AIs having the debate, and then there was the half dozen or 8 or 10 other AIs that were evaluating the answers. And I was quite surprised and disconcerted that the AIs doing the evaluation came back giving a higher ranking to the theist AI. But again, like I said, we'll revisit that in 10 years.
And it had it was accepting assertions on the magic side. And so that's going to tip, if you're accepting magic assertion, it's going to have more evidence because atheism doesn't have that. So that's I'm not really surprised, but like you were disconcerting. If you don't take a step back, if you're religious, you're just going to go see even the smartest thing, and it's like,
but to any any theist wanting to assert the God hypothesis, I would say, okay, now your job is to go and learn every single one of those arguments by heart so that you can start to recite them, and then come back and try to sell me again, because I'll just deliver to through the AI, the theist AI,
Yeah.
or the atheist AI's arguments, and shut you down. And then, if I was going to add anything to it on top of that, I would just be like, and then let's stop living in a fairy tale.
Right. That would, ironically, technology is becoming more like a fairy tale, and I'm wondering. I mean, the online, the Marvel universe, the DC, the video games, the internet in general is becoming more fantastical. I'm hoping that helps with that shift of becoming, if reality is more fantastical, maybe they won't have to look at this old silly book with all the same and go towards a new book like Marvel and DC, better stories, updated stories that more align or attach with their soul, instead of trying to imagine a white, smooth-skinned Jesus in the Middle East 2,000 years ago. There's some holes in those stories that I think a new online religion or an online fantasy that aligns with some moral thing that fits in with Christianity a little bit better might be more attractive. But see, at that point you're going against bigotry, and it also might be that since reality is so fantastical, that could also mean that the fantastical is just fantastical, and we haven't figured out how it's fantastical yet because God. It could make the fantasy of the Bible more believable because reality is so fantastical. I don't know which way primates go.
Let's talk about bigotry for a minute, because I'm kind of curious. Let's start to imagine that post-scarcity world for a second. Only because it's a fun place to go, and
Mad Max. There's been a lot of movies made about it.
Since we can't really, you and I can really remember, not just from our own childhoods, which were probably, frankly, by comparison, idyllic. We can remember the stories from our grandparents and whatnot about how things were probably a little bit tougher, and they can remember from their own grandparents about how things were quite a bit tougher. So we might have a more difficult time than somebody, say, who was young in imagining a world that is truly post-scarcity, even though, to be quite fair, Gene Roddenberry did a pretty good job of
we don't have to invent it. There's been really smart people inventing those ideas for a long time now.
Yeah. So, in a post-scarcity world, and in a world where,
the world where we've conquered the atom. Androids are rising up.
Longevity escape velocity. All right, epic voice guy. But by the way, Ray Kurzweil's latest prediction for longevity escape velocity is 2030. So we just got to hang in there for another 6 years. I think he truly plans on making it. Ray Kurzweil.
Oh yeah,
we can make it. We can make it.
Well,
fingers crossed.
Man, 6 years is a long time, and just because it exists doesn't mean we have access to it. And it doesn't mean that it's easy. It could be another 30 years before it's viable, because space travel was available 70 years ago, and that would have hit his mark, and then all these years go by. So if we achieve biological immortality, or the technology to, it could still be 20 years before. I don't want to be the pessimist. It could with AI. We're going to get it super quick. It's going to be super cheap. It's going to be a couple eye drops. It's going to make you see naked breasts, and it's going to be awesome. Yes, I'm down. I'm so down.
Right now, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed for longevity escape velocity, and let biological immortality occur when it happens.
Right.
Yeah, I'll try to be patient as much as I would really love to change my body and everything about it.
I'm super hopeful, but with chemo, My time frame, my candle's burning a little bit faster. So it's good that it's 7 years. 6 years? 6 or 7 years? The good. It better be.
Fingers
good.
crossed.
I'll make that.
I'm going to do everything I can to help.
I'll make it.
So in a post-scarcity world where, where longevity, escape velocity, and we are starting to experience maybe not that full-on 50-year future where you're essentially being, whatever Nano Man wants to be, but something prior to that where you're just kind of starting to get into being able to really augment your body in some primary ways, some very basic ways. What do you suppose happens to a concept such as bigotry? What is bigotry really, I wonder?
Right. Well, we've had this conversation way back when. And
Let's have it again.
It was one of the conversations where I was wondering if you were trying to signal something, but it was it was we had the conversation, we were talking about engines of creation.
Oh, yes.
And gene doping. So somewhere in between that, engine creation. And we both know or knew, I knew that there was going to be a time when you'd be able to go to the doctor, say, I want to be, as me, I could go to a doctor and say, I want to be a 5'3" black woman with giant breasts. And they're going to be able to go, here is the exact DNA instructions for that. And it's going to take maybe 3 months, but you're going to get there. And at that point, if a white, middle-aged male can become a 5'3" busty black woman, what is racism? What is bigotry? What does anything mean when anybody could actually be anything in the human range? So if I was to have sex with someone that was 6 months ago a man, a 7 foot tall black man, and is now a 4.5 foot tall Asian woman, am I gay for having sex with an Asian woman that was? So do I go back? Well, what were they originally? And that's, so if it was a guy originally, I can't because I would be gay. And what if they, see that kind of thing? It starts, you start having to ask questions, because a bigot or a homophobe or a racist or whatever, what they're experiencing the disgust of the deviation from what they are and judging the deviation of what other people. So I think they would have to get way more nuanced, or I think the next bigotry would be towards people that have gotten alterations and have not, purists. I think the only thing left for bigots would be purists versus trans, whatever, transhuman.
And how would you even, I mean, if somebody wanted to keep that a secret, how would you even know?
I don't know how bigotry is going to work. Primates have managed, through every technological advancement, through every scientific discovery about human anatomy, we've always managed a good hefty bigotry.
Is disgust or revulsion or repulsion, is that the operative feeling with regards to bigotry? A feeling of disgust or revulsion or repulsion? Or
betrayal from the norm. Betrayal from if you're a white guy that steps out and has deviates from the norm, societal white norm, or the societal black norm, or whatever the group is that's trying to defend itself. If you step out of that,
what happens when the norm becomes to become the person you want to be? What happens when that is the norm?
I don't know.
It's not normal to stay who you are unless you just really love who you are.
Right. So let's...
I mean, aren't tattoos a great example of that? You're born without a tattoo.
I don't know.
It's perfectly normal.
But see, tattoos... we're shunned, and they are still shunned. If you're like a religious conservative, they will still say that you're more of a criminal. In fact, you don't even have to be religious. Statistically, it even shows that people with tattoos tend to be involved in more crime because they get more attention from police. I mean, there's lots of reasons, but you can make reasons why this changes who I am. But people still do. I don't know if I don't know how the future tech is going to change that. But we get to, if everything goes right, we get to experience it. I am going to do my very, very best to make bigots really angry with me. That kind of makes me feel good. Bigot tears. I'm going to be a 10-foot dragon person with wings, and I don't breathe in fire, silly. I'll spit acid. I'll gargle acid or whatever a 10-foot tall dragon person does, and then let the bigots cry.
I think that bigotry is going to, if it persists at all, it's going to become a feeling of revulsion only towards a person's ideology. And
yeah,
if we don't just pop out with our ideology, then the only way a person can be bigoted towards somebody who hasn't just popped out with their ideology is if they're bigoted towards somebody who hasn't popped out with their ideology.
Right.
And
fence sitter bigotry.
Yeah, but ultimately it's going to be, it'll have to be ideologically based. As far as the homosexual thing, I've got a feeling that's going to completely disintegrate when there's a real ability to transform the body on a genetic level, on a
right,
some great thing, because
you would think so.
Yeah,
I sure hope so. That sounds awesome.
I think we're probably born, some of us, without a lot of heterosexual predilection, but for the people that are born or go through puberty as heterosexuals, that is something that they just have all quite throughout their life. There are so many things that can happen to any given individual to strip them of their sexual preference.
Right. One solid bump in the noggin can do it, or a hormonal shift, or a virus.
A brain tumor causing a hormonal shift can do it. So there's things that are clearly outside of an individual's control that could change their sexual preference. And I think with once we keep that in mind, that yes, it can be a choice, and it should be a choice, and it will be a choice, as long as we have some fancy idea that, or fanciful idea, I should say, that there's a free will. Then it's
right.
But at some point, we're going to really just stop. When we live long enough, we're going to just
Judeo-Christian personal God religions would all have to end first. Because a person is their spirit, not their body. So religious fanatics believe that it's not the body, that no hormonal shift causes you to be, it would be demons, or that you're a sinner, or something like that. It's not based in physics. That's my whole problem with the AI having to accept God magic in the argument. So once you get that kind of religious control or majority would have to really decrease. I think most people, to your point, I think most people would probably be, I don't fucking care. That's a hot hole and I'm going to stick something in it. I'm sure. But if there's a large control or majority of religious fundamentalists, that's not going to fly. They're going to ban the technology. They're going to try and remove the tech, just like they're doing with female reproductive rights and the birth control. They don't like that because they want more Christians, they want people to have more babies here. So that's part of their thing. So they're going to take away the control to make you have more babies. It's not above them to include this because those are going to be the same people, right? The same people that are trying to get in power now, and we get into a little bit of politics. Same people that are trying to get into power now and ban birth control, and they say it's states' rights, but then they've already said in many occasions that once they get into office, they're going to make it a federal ban on reproductive rights. So it was never about states' rights. That's my issue, is they're going to keep pushing. And so you'd have to get rid of that for that to even be a technology that they allow. Because they're already rolling back reproductive rights. They're already banning sales of birth control. They are. So that's the problem. That's what makes me so upset. And right now, I'm just kind of I'm whatever. With the center and the left have lost, and it's going to be the religious extremists that are in power for the next 4 years. Man, that's going to suck. Let's see how bad it gets. We get to see if your benefits still outweigh whatever you perceive the negatives to be. But I don't think those are going to be the same for both of us. But I see the worst in the religious creep, in Christian Sharia creeping into more into the politics. Not because I think Trump gives a damn about it. First, he just wants sycophants and people that are promising to do him all these things. And he's fine with it. I think he's just fine with it. He doesn't care. As long as he's getting attention and he doesn't go to jail, he's like, yay, you're super passionate, come in. And you're not a Dem or a woke or whatever that he doesn't like, as long as you're not that. And I think that's how it creeps in. I don't know if our government, if our society is strong enough to keep the wall between church and state. I don't think so. We're already giving churches tax breaks or they're tax free, and they are balls deep in politics. And they're balls. No, it is new, because it's been creeping up. When I was a kid, they would get more around it. Now they're coming right out and saying, if you're a Democrat, I want you to get the hell out. You don't need to be here. Those are the more crazy extreme ones, but they're already openly doing it, and they're still tax exempt. And so that's to me, they've already kicked their foot in the door. And they're weaseling their way in, and I'm just not comfortable with how it's going. And it was doing that under Biden and Dems or whatever. I think under Republicans, it's going to get, especially now, it's going to get a huge push. And I don't know that we don't go to a theocratic dictatorship from there of some sort. But that's my fear, and we get to see if your rainbows and sparkles happen. I would love for you to be right, and that my cancer will turn into money.
I would be willing to put money on the notion that while there might be a religious resurgence with regards to people who want to believe, or people who want to even spend time going to church, that might happen. And there might be a slight uptick in prayer in school, but I can remember when there was a lot of prayer in school, and I'm not talking about Utah. I'm talking about Oregon.
Right.
I was in grade school. So that we know that has been on the decline since the 70s. I would have to say that's probably, even if there's a mild uptick, it won't be like it was in the 70s. Let's just consider.
I hope not.
Sign.
I think that's a good sign. My biggest trepidation is with women's reproductive rights and forcing women to have children and not allowing doctors to treat women, even if they're having issues. So that it's that control gets motivation. It gets inertia, and people that want that kind of control and get enough inertia to make that happen aren't going to stop at that, and so they're going to keep trying. So that's my concern: is they're going to keep trying, and it's going to get rolled back.
It'll never happen on a federal level. It'll never happen.
Sure. That's what they said in Saudi Arabia.
If it was able to happen on the federal level, it would have happened on the federal level. It just won't.
No, I think times are different. Times are different.
There's going to be
different
some
things
states,
happen at different times.
True. There might be some states that outlaw it, ban it, and that'll be them states. There's going to become some abortion tourism that occurs. Okay. Some states
if
just won't have it, they're going to just say nope, abortion's legal here.
Right. If abortion or reproductive rights get banned at a federal level, at that point, is that where you're going to go? This is the tax write-offs aren't enough. The tax breaks aren't enough.
Sure.
Because they're taking away. Okay, so that's good. That's a goalpost that it's good to know that there is one. I'm glad there's a goalpost if they actually take rights away from women on a federal level.
But I would be putting.
I'm planting that one.
Money on the bet.
You are.
And in fact, yes. If religion was a stock, I'd be selling that stock right now. I'd be selling it short.
Sure. Religion doesn't have to be very popular for it to be very dangerous and to kill a lot of people.
Well, you got a good point there, but
with if religious conservatives get into power, it's not the religious conservatives that have to do the killing. It would be the military or the police or whatever group that it has power over, forcing them to do that. So you don't have to have a population. Let's hope. See, that's where I've lost mine. I don't have that anymore. All the bad things I think are going to happen, and that is one of them, I believe Trump is going to allow to happen and push for it because it's going to make him. I think we're already on a course that way. We were already on a pendulum swing back for a correction, and I think this ultra-conservative power grab, while Trump is in office, is happening just at the peak of this pendulum swing back towards conservatism, and I think it might overturn the cart. I think this was the wrong time to back Trump. I think it's the wrong time to back the Conservative Party because of tax breaks, because I am unwilling to risk the freedoms of our most marginalized.
Just bear in mind that it's not just about tax breaks. I mean, I use that only as one example.
I haven't had another thing where he's doing good or another argument from you. It's always been the money, the economy, and so far.
Size of government.
Okay, that's relative, and it will get smaller. In fact, it is getting smaller. AI,
stop flirting with me.
Just like in the corporate world, AI is being used for government facilities. Government is also using private corporations, and they are using AI. So everything is getting smaller. It's just right now more and more people are getting born because the population isn't declining yet. So anything that's growth is going to grow until there's collapse, and we haven't hit a collapse yet. So the big government thing to me is relative.
We're past the point of no return, past the point of safe return. I mean, we're definitely on the train is out the station and it's going down the tracks toward.
We're going down the Trump train. We're on the Trump train. This is Trump train.
Well, I know we're on the Trump train.
Right, and so everything positive and negative that is associated with him, I'm assuming is going to happen. All the negative things are going to happen, and all the positive things are going to happen. And all the positive things on Trump's policies, most of them I don't like. So what I see is we're going to get more negatives than positives. And I don't know if we survive that pendulum swing back the other way. I'm worried that we get caught in that because it's happened to other countries. It could happen here, and we are not the most stable right now. And I don't know if we can take it and not go into theocratic dictatorship. That's my worry.
Let's go down a real quick thread with regards to one of the Trump policies, because I'm just curious to get your feeling and take on it, and then we can possibly branch out into another thread that is
if you insist. Only if you insist.
Department of Education. Do you feel like that ought to be done away with?
That one's a tricky one because of technology. No, I think it should be ramped up. I think it should get 100 times the funding it's getting. I think it should be totally restructured. Totally restructured. So not just the money, but use the money to totally restructure school to learning how to use technology, but more importantly for primates, to learn how to get along with each other.
From the federal level, you're suggesting this?
Yes. Because state level is not going to do it. So there has to be a guideline, just like a religious doctrine needs to have the guardrails. That's where you get your inspiration. You need a doctrine, you need some guidance to where the population, or where you're signaling, where you're putting money where you want it to go, and you need to make sure that people are in charge that are representing the population. Of course, all the good things must happen. None of this is going to happen, by the way. I'm just answering a theoretical what I would like to see happen.
You don't think that Donald Trump would? Oh, wait, you're right, because he's moving in the direction of dissolving the Department of Education.
Right. I think the focus, as you would probably agree, has been to educate good cogs in the wheel to work in factories and behave.
That has been how it was set up.
Right. Okay. So that has been corrupted and broken down because we no longer need that. Factory workers are being replaced with robots and machinery, automation. And so we need to take some money and effort and time and figure out what we need to do with our children to make them happier and more productive and more stable parts of society. We need to use education because that's where it comes from, right? You put your child, or you try and raise your child to work,
Ideally,
to exist well in the world that they grow up in, and to hopefully make it better and not kill everyone. Generally,
Ideally.
I'm gonna generally, and so right now that's not what schools are doing. The other option that the right is saying is, well, we need to put them all back in church. So if we all homeschool them, we'll all put them back in church and
What's
have
your
church
opinion
money.
of homeschool?
I am generally against it.
Do you think parents should have the right to pull their children out of school? Obviously. Or is that self-evident, or is that self-evident enough, or is there any situations where we should compel the parents to send their kids to school?
There's lots of situations where you should both compel and not compel people. That's politics and that's law. There are parents that cause suffering and neglect, and we hope recognize that some parents should have their children taken away. If they're passed out in a crack coma and the cops walk in and go, well, you can't be relied on to keep this child alive. So you recognize there's exceptions, right? There's exceptions to everything.
Extreme exceptions, yes.
Right, there are exceptions. So I don't trust. I don't think the learnings is the most important part about school.
Okay.
I didn't get much learnings in school. I dropped out. I'm a dropout. I was a problem child, a divorced family, 12 drug problems. I was not a good student. Straight Fs in high school. So I didn't get the learning in there, but I met people that I am still very good friends with while I was there, and it's the experience of being together in a group and going through stuff. So I would love to see school pivot from being regimented and tested as if they're going to make a cog in a wheel, and more into I'm a lefty, tree-hugging socialist, right? So more hugs, more group, more just helping kids figure out how to interact with each other and get great memories, make great friends, and use those friends and memories to make a great world. That's what I'd like to see. And homeschool. Now, I have several therapists that are queer, LGBTQ, or have several LGBTQ plus children, and so they also homeschool. So for the safety of their children, they decided to homeschool because of right-wing religious fanatics and hatred and bigotry and all the stuff that comes with that. And
right.
They've done a great job, but they have groups that they take them to. They take them to events and like a school or a social event where they're doing structured stuff like a school. They take them to a school, but mostly they're taught from home. I think that's okay, but
Okay.
I guess my personal bigotry, and this is where this would come in, my bias would be you're also going to have parents that are maybe not themselves devoutly religious, but they want to make sure their children are God-fearing. And so they pound the fantasy of the Bible into their children, and that's how they learn how to interact with other humans and how to judge other humans. I think that's the opposite direction that we should be going. LGBTQ plus groups are by nature inclusive, as we were talking about the gay Jew cake. Inclusivity is more a center stone of protection for the LGBTQ alternative groups generally.
I tell you some stories.
Today, sure. No. Today, the queer groups are more worried about the right wing murdering them than the other way around. There's not a lot of 15-year-old boys that are trans that are going out and murdering people. There's violence one direction mostly, but that's not my argument. That's not my argument.
Right.
My argument is if you're learning your social interactions from a 2,000-year-old comic book, you're not going to be well adjusted for the rest of the world. And I don't agree that that's what children should be raised as, because it breeds hatred and bigotry. And raising them in more inclusivity, ideally, would do the opposite of that. Whether that's how it plans out or not, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I've been to these groups. The groups that I've been part of were very inclusive. And the church groups that I've been a part of were not. So I guess anecdotally, the only thing I can give you is anecdotally, as a straight, white, cis, middle-aged male, I've seen the bigotry and the danger more attacking the nerds, LGBTQ, people that are the outside of normal society. I've seen they have more problems with violence against them, and the basis where I see the bigotry coming from is religious conservatism and bigotry of the other. So I don't like either. I don't like any of it. I don't think we're going to make it. I think we got just smart enough to make AI, and I think we're going to slowly collapse like a flan in a cupboard. That's Eddie Izzard.
Yeah,
flan in a cupboard.
Yeah. Well, I won't bother with the.
I hope you're wrong. I hope you're wrong. I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I hope you're right. I hope it's going to be rainbows and unicorns. But this society, the right wing is not so fond of rainbows and unicorns at the moment. So I'm not seeing how rainbows and unicorns are going to light our way.
They're not. Let me tell you how religion is going to die.
Please.
Religion and mysticism are going to die as lifespans get longer. We've already seen it.
Yes.
Already seen it.
Yes.
And eventually, especially, I should say, after longevity escape velocity is achieved, we're going to see it totally die out in very natural death. The people who don't believe in souls are going to be adopters of this technology to live longer. People who do believe in souls or who just get tired of living are going to be people who do not adopt, or who they may adopt at some point but then eventually stop because they're ready to meet their maker or whatever it might be. That's going to lead to the natural death of religion itself at first, and mysticism over the long term. Again, it's not going to happen all at once, and it will never happen to 100%. It's going to always be that movement towards infinity, that ever declining smaller and smaller amount. But still, there'll be some. We're gonna reach that point in ourselves where we have to have our own I'll use the term "come to Jesus" moment, but it's really going to be a come to not Jesus
Science
moment, because we're going, oh, this one little bit of mysticism that I have been nursing all these years, I finally have to let it go because I've been shown by the AI exactly so now I'm but as far as education, when we keep in consideration that religion will not live past, or I should say will not survive longer lifespans, when we keep that in mind, that we remember that is not really going to be a thing for our children's children at the very least, they're not going to be dealing with religion in the schools, then we come back to the question of what you're talking about, how to raise children that are well-adjusted and blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, well, right now, in my humble opinion, this is just me, and I'm not a parent, so this can only be taken for what it's worth.
You interact with some young.
I have my experience, yes. It seems to me that the biggest hurdle that children have with regards to growing up well-adjusted is from their very own parents. So, if we were going to do something with a department of whatever, it wouldn't be a Department of Education, or unless it was the Department of Education of parents, and it could be centralized government program, or maybe just some, PSA effort, however that might look, but something that just really helps young parents, and hopefully before they're young parents, to go about their family planning very carefully, and then raise their children very conscientiously.
As long as there is such a thing as family planning.
Yeah, not such that the children are conscientious. I'm talking about the parents being conscientious.
Sure.
So that they can raise well-adjusted children. Now, if you want to throw money at a program like that I might be able to buy into. I'd have to be sold on it, obviously. Yes, I'd have to be sold on it. But I see the future of education being something that is extremely decentralized. Department of Education, very centralized. Education itself, I see that as being very decentralized. There is not a teacher on this planet right now that is not going to be totally outclassed by an AI in less than 5 years. I shouldn't say that. The AI is going to be a information delivery system, and the children will still need to have a human element. And that human element is actually going to require more specialized skill to deliver what they need to deliver in terms of the human element than your average run-of-the-mill teacher today. Your average run-of-the-mill teacher today with 4 years of college under their belt is going to be sorely inadequate to try to really deliver the human element to the children in the degree that they need, in the volume that they need, while the child is getting its information delivered by the AI. And so I see a situation where the bulk, 95% of the people that are calling themselves teachers today have got a new profession in 5 years.
Yes.
And
we are arguing for the same point here. We are both of our hopes are in the same place.
And that's why I don't see a future for the Department of Education.
So the issue I have is we have the Department of Education for a reason. There wasn't, again, a nefarious mustachioed villain in the corner going, I'm going to design the Department of Education. There was issues.
Do you know how old it is? How old is the Department of Education?
I don't know. Right. I don't know. It's not 10,000 years old.
Jimmy Carter.
Right? What? Yeah, sure. Awesome. Yeah. New ideas.
You and I.
How do you know how long ago was Social Security? How long ago was Social Security introduced?
Less than 100 years.
Gosh. Yeah. But I think it was a good idea. And it was something that was needed at the time, during those times. Whether it's still needed now, whether it's at the time, it was necessary. The Department of Education, like
now.
I was...
Yeah. Social Security is ubiquitous now, but adoption for Social Security took longer than 50 years.
Sure. Sure.
So,
But there was never
Department of
any
Education-
mustachioed, twirling villains planning it. It was an issue arose. We needed to come to a consensus on a larger scale than the states. The representatives of the states decided, because it wasn't one guy just said, we're going to do it. It had to have been a group of people that agreed to do all this, because we can't get anything done now. So you have to have a group of people agree to do this and to form this. So you had representatives from the state go, yes, we needed these federal guidelines, and that's great. And they did that. No nefarious issues needed. And it's only going to be viable, or we should only keep it viable or working as long as it's doing what it was supposed to do, or we need it to do what it was supposed to do. I think you're right that we no longer need it to do what it is supposed to do. But if you say we just need to get rid of the Department of Education, but we need something else, we need to do for the teachers, and but you say at that point, what you're just doing is going, well, we're going to rename it something else. Because like science, if you discover something new that changes science, you don't go, well, science is broken, so we're not going to use science anymore. No, you still call it science. You integrate that into science. Department of Education. If you don't like the name, you can change the name, I suppose. I don't know if it'll have a huge difference. We'll call it right-wing family values.
That's
and
not
then
what
you
I'm
could
after.
have it do whatever. But for whatever reason, we had a federal agency that was formed to serve a function.
I can
I
tell you
don't
what
know-
its function was. Its
I don't
function was
know-
to harvest more tax dollars.
Uh,
More
Sure,
federal income
probably-
tax. Yeah.
But I would imagine the corporate interest had some play in there too.
There was some
Well,
corporate interest.
we need tax money, but the corporations don't want to pay it. So, sure, I get it. It could be there's going to be nefarious players. Sure. What I am concerned about is that you get isolated pockets of children that start thinking that Jesus is going to come back and straddle the two mountains and cause Ragnarok or whatever the fuck crazy idea they think Jesus is, and then strap bombs
that's
to their
not
chest or get an AR-15 and get on the roof of a building and try and assassinate a president. Whatever crazy nutbag little pockets that evil monsters that parents can create. I worry about that if they're not compelled, and I know you don't like this word, if they're not compelled to go to a place where children are evaluated and integrated with other children to not spawn bigotry. We need to integrate primates into large groups of children. And
Everybody that's done what you're talking about over the last 50 years that has done what you just barely outlined has been a product of the Department of Education. So
Sure.
I don't think the Department of Education is not preventing that. I think there's something family values.
It
And
establishes
it doesn't have to be right-wing family values.
Right.
It just needs to be family values.
That's not even maybe the nuclear family, a mother, a father, and children in a house.
Yes.
That was invented in the 40s. That didn't exist before suburbs. That was a way of counting areas and fencing off areas for people to live. The nuclear family is also in itself a recent creation. So being against schools, being against no, as far as a thing, as far as it being an ideal, it's an idea. It was an idea. It wasn't there before.
What did they have before that?
Households full of people. There wasn't one mother and one father and several children. There was the great grandmother that was in bed. There was the grandmother. There was the mother. There was the fathers that probably lived in another house down the street, and all the kids were there. And so it was chaos. There are thousands and thousands of human establishments that aren't a mother and a father and children. And that
Right.
was, especially with Indians, where in North America, so the established family unit would have been Indian. But that whole idea of the family unit is new also, is kind of my point. So I don't know what schools should be. It's clear that what we have isn't working for a lot of people. It should be different. Do I think it needs to be dissolved at a federal level and let the states decide? Again, no, I'm against that, because it's not about the states for a large group of people. It's about dissolving an institution and then immediately making another institution anti to that previous institution. That's the issue. Because when Trump said, like with healthcare, no, we got to get rid of this Obamacare, which, by the way, is what saved my life. I would be dead right now without the Affordable Care Act. That's how I have
I
insurance.
don't know if I would say
So,
that.
no, I would.
Got your treatment some way.
Maybe at $16,000 a shot, probably not. What Trump said was, we're going to have the best healthcare. We're going to get the best healthcare. We got to knock down this Obamacare. We got to get rid of Obamacare, right? Never once to this day has he still offered another healthcare plan that he would replace it with. All they've ever talked about is getting rid of the healthcare that we've got. No replacements presented. So my fear is in the vacuum where they go, okay, we've succeeded. We've gotten rid of the Department of Education and we've gotten rid of Obamacare. See ya, bitches, on your own, got my bag, and they run. Or they go, well, the church is going to help you with their charities. I don't trust that. I just don't trust it. So you, ironically, at this point, are trusting politics to play out because you think the guy on your side is for you. And I don't think you're right. I sure hope you are. Are you? Are we? Are we not? Oh, we're not.
Yes.
We're not connected. You don't hear me?
Oh, yes, we are. I totally hear you.
Are we? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. So I don't trust a new right-wing government head by a bombastic performer that I don't think really cares about people as long as he's not in jail and he is surrounded by sycophants and he gets to pretend to be ruler. I don't trust that. I trust more the cabinet of a doddering old man with dementia over what I think Trump is bringing to the table, and you don't. But the problem, or the issue, or the non-issue, is we both agree that the stuff that's going on isn't working. I'm not for Biden either. I'm not for Democrats. I'm just less for the group that the religious extremists are trying to get in, because I'm not seeing that on the Democrat side. I'm not seeing religious extremists saying they're going to take away women's rights or any of the extreme positions they have. I'm not seeing that on the Democratic side. I'm seeing it on the Republican side. So as far from that as I can get, which means I'll always be for the Democrats, but I am actually a techno-socialist. I am so far left that there's not even an imagination of my representation. I'm not in the political realm at all. So I don't like any of it. But I think your guy is worse because he's, maybe I explain it like being immunocompromised. He's like chemotherapy, and he isn't the danger. It's the secondary infections that it can bring along with it that'll kill it, and that's my concern.
Effects.
I'm concerned about that.
Is techno-socialism even possible not in a post-scarcity world? Pre-post-scarcity?
It hasn't been. No. See, that's why when I say I don't know what people are talking about when they're talking about 1945 socialism. That's never going to happen. Now, your question was a little bit different. Is it possible now, even though because we're not quite there yet? Clearly not. You have to have I think, a more intelligent AI dictator that primates recognize as being in their best interest. Not whether or not it is, but the primates have to think it is. And I think that would be the only, and be able to provide the products and services that the primate population wants.
Is techno-socialism an economic system or a political system?
Yes.
Yes, I knew you'd say that.
Yes. Now, I don't know if, I know other people are using different terms. I don't know if people are using technological socialist, techno-socialist. I'm sure somebody is, but I'm mostly, for me, making it up as I go along. And the idea, of course, is eventually automation and AI will do everything better than humans, but I don't want AI to kill us all. So in my fantasy that AI actually aligns with us and wants to take care of us, what would be the best way for AI to make as many humans happy as possible? Man, I sure hope it goes that way. I am not convinced of that either. That's why I wanted my Florida Man hurricane bunker, my internet connection, and I wanted to hide. So now I'm just hiding. Sort of hiding. In plain sight.
Techno-socialism. Is that a searchable term I could do some research on?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever Googled it. Yes, ad blocker, I appreciate you, but I'm not paying you right now. There is techno-socialism. I put in techno-socialist, but techno-socialism came up. Thoughts on techno-optimistic socialism. So they added another word. A new school of technos focus on achieving freedom from the market when... Well, can I have the rest of it, please? That wasn't a definition. Yes, apparently it's a thing. I better probably figure it out. I'm not disabling my ad blocker. You can right the fuck off. So yes, you can Google it. I had not. I should probably read it. I don't need to reinvent the wheel. People smarter than me that have thought about this have probably outlined it better than me. But the idea, of course, is that we are going to continue keep inventing things, and eventually things will be better, and we won't have to do most of the things that we don't want to do. And the things that we want to do and the things that we like to do should be the things that society and the market and the economy should focus towards. Put incentives towards the things we want to and like to do, and de-incentivize or incentivize with automation, take care of with automations the things that we don't. Techno-socialism. That's the definition of the Gilbert wisdom.
I could see a world where we have innovated and invented so many productivity tools. AI is a perfect example. Mm-hmm. So many productivity tools that a person can so easily employ a leverage in their life that they can provide their livelihood, their cost of living, their livelihood, and their cost of whatever quality of life they want, so easily leveraged that they can do it by literally mostly, or maybe even 99.9%, doing very little or something that they just extremely love and enjoy doing. So essentially that they're able to leverage so easily that they can provide their cost of living without...
We are almost there.
Yeah. But here's the but. In that world, there's still going to be levels of ambition. There's going to be some people that stop at, well, I've got my I've got my Quonset hut shed, my hangar shed, and I've got my RV inside, and I've got my 1 acre plot that is
Right.
a mile away from anybody, and I've got my electric car and my electric bike, and I've got my healthcare handled and my longevity handled, so I don't really need anything else. That's just going to be what I've got. That's what I want. I've got everything.
Or to upgrade with as on the way as society upgrades to your certain level.
And there's
Sure.
And there will be some
Treading water.
people who are so leverage oriented that there's still going to be Elon Musks out there, lots of them, and they're going to have an incredibly disparate quality of life. There's going to be still a lot of wealth.
What are you inequality?
Wealth inequality.
What are you thinking?
Yes.
What do you think is wealth disparate? What do you think
Disparate?
their life will be so much better at than someone that's just willing to tread water and not have as much motivation to do more? Why would their life be so much better if you've got if everyone has all of their needs met and they're happy at their position and they're not motivated to do more? What difference would it make if other people are making rockets and going to Mars? Man, great on them. I'm not there. That's not me. I'm glad you're having fun doing your shit. I'm going to do mine. Once you have the needs met, see, at this point, you're arguing socialism, the idea of techno-socialism. Everybody has their needs met at the bottom, and the people that want to do more, that are inspired and motivated to do more, awesome, do it. Make the next thing. But they're going to have their needs met, and so they're going to be doing it for other reasons than survival. They're going to be doing it, like in Star Trek, one of the Star Trek, different video. They aspire, or most of their wealth comes from personal growth. The idea of somebody that personal growth is more important than things, and so I think people that are more motivated will have to find a way to be motivated to do great things other than motivated strictly by the idea of having really cool stuff and holding it over the desperate masses so they worship them. I don't think that is an appropriate motivation for primates as a push to do more. Or the fear that if you don't hustle, you're going to stumble and die. That if you aren't keeping up with the Joneses, the gears are going to grind you in. So if everybody's set, and this is way Rainbow's idea, if everybody's mostly set, everybody that's in an apartment is good with an apartment. I would be good in the house, whatever. If everybody's where they are, and at that point, the only reason you would be motivated as a human being is because you wanted to improve yourself, or you saw a lack and you wanted to provide more wealth, more leverage for humans, more fun, more novelty, whatever it is. And then you just want credit, right? You would want the attention, because you wouldn't want money unless you wanted to show that you were better than others. And you're going to have some of that. We are a hierarchical species. So maybe reward some of that with stuff. I don't know. I'm not an AI, and I promise you I don't have the answers to how the ultimate motivation of humanity should go. I don't know. I don't think it's theological.
Question.
Yeah, I don't think it's a theological dictatorship. I think it's something the other way. But maybe it's a technological dictatorship. AI. And that's usually where I land.
The AI centralizing
the dread of inevitability.
But the main thing is everybody would be at that base level. Everybody on the planet, right?
That would be the idea. Now, Right. A
There would be-
lot of us
there
are going to
would be
have
no
to
industrial-
fuck a lot of beer bottles. There's going to be a lot of beer bottle mating, right? So I don't think this is going to happen
know.
with...
When
Go ahead.
longevity becomes a thing, a real major thing, it's going to always be people making the choice of longevity or having a bunch of children. They're not going to do both.
They're probably not going to do both. Or if they do both, they're going to do it over 5,000 years and not over 15 years.
Spread out quite a bit.
Yes. So at that point, if there's, say, I don't know even what they're suggesting that we would level out at. Hans Rosling said we would level out at 10 billion. I think that's a bit much. I think it'll be way lower than that. But at that point, if you don't have a growth economy, because you wouldn't have a growth economy with a shrinking population, you have to go the other way. You have to have a sustainable population, and whatever economy suits that. So that's not capitalism, or if you want to update science or update capitalism and call it capitalism, but make it have some other mechanism to make it work for less people in a shrinking world with more in a post-scarcity world. You can still call it capitalism if you like. I don't care what you call it. It's not going to be what we got now. That's the ideal in my mind. Is we have a lot of fun screwing robots. We don't make a lot of babies. We get better and better life, and we just do that for longer and longer.
Yeah, I don't think
I'm
economy
so
is going to
down.
be what becomes the pinch or the platform or the thing that dictates the amount of population sustainable by the planet. I think it'll be a tech question, but then ultimately it'll become really a population density question.
But it's not now. We haven't reached the edge of mining the earth, and we are already seeing where we are going to have a population collapse. So population in a post-scarcity environment isn't going to be dictated on how much stuff you have. That's one of the things that's going to change. In a post-scarcity environment, population density is going to be dictated on motivation to have children. And when your motivation is on other things, your population is going to shrink. So it won't be dedicated or predicted on a choke point of resources. Or if it is, it's a resource that we aren't commodifying.
You don't think that with death being a choice, that population would still grow? Only it would grow
No.
basically at a rate that we collectively decide is a good rate?
Nope.
You don't think?
Nope.
I think it'll grow.
I don't think so. I think the longer and healthier we live, the less children we have. A Mack truck will still crush you. There will still be
Sure.
diseases. Even if you're not aging, diseases will still kill you. All the things
there
that still kill
might be some of
people,
that.
the thing that kills people the least is old age. So the only thing you're addressing is the thing that kills the least amount of people right now. So you're still going to have all those. I know that would change. It would become.
I don't know. I feel like that's the thing that kills most people, but that's okay.
Do you think
Semantics.
more people die from old age than die from viruses?
Yeah, I think that viruses are just ubiquitous, and we survive them until we don't. And the reason we don't is because
No. But if you
old age.
don't, it's not because you're old. It's because the virus killed you while you were old. Or if you're young, you were susceptible to it. For whatever reason, it doesn't matter why the virus killed you. You either get killed by old age or the virus. Yes. I mean, we have to have a distinction in order
Sure.
to rate it
Sure.
as far as list of what kills the most, or what most people die from. Let's try to not bias it too horribly. I don't know if those are rated by order. I've got heart disease, cerebrovascular disease, diabetes, cancer, lower respiratory tract infection, chronic liver disease, accident, Alzheimer's disease, kidney disease. All of those would touch on old age.
Yeah,
All of those are
complications of
diseases.
old age.
No, heart disease.
With the exception of lower
diet.
respiratory. Yeah.
Cardiovascular disease, diet, diabetes, diet, nothing to do with age. It can. Older people will suffer from it most, but you don't have to. Cancer doesn't give a damn how old you are. Lower respiratory tract infection, and then accident. I mean, how do you rate accident? So
that's everybody, yeah.
Right. So none of that. That's all related, but I would say more people die from this than strictly old age or succumbing to a disease from old age.
I'm saying that old age complicates those things.
Sure. But I don't see life extension tipping the balance in favor of a population growth over if we don't solve any of these diseases. I think a lot of these diseases we are going to solve. So I don't think this is a static thing.
Be part of the longevity thing.
Right. But once you have, I don't know what a society will look like. See, I'm starting to get to the point where I don't know, where you get to that curve where it's so you can't see past the singularity. I can't see past a certain point of what it's really going to be like. When I don't know if I'm going to be so thrilled to pop out a bunch of kids if I'm practically immortal and I feel fucking rad and I'm having fun doing other stuff. Maybe I'll have kids. Maybe the population will have kids at a faster rate than kids do stupid suicidal stuff and get killed, because they'll jump off shit and break, or they do run out into traffic.
Might still be some of that, I guess.
And you're going to have people still jumping out of planes and going skiing and racing and and you're going to have people doing more extreme stuff because they're going to be, not maybe extreme, but more people doing more physical stuff because we're all going to be healthier and more mobile. I don't think life extension is going to outpace accident, or I don't think reproduction and life extension combined is going to outpace accidents for the foreseeable future. But I could be wrong. I don't know. At the point that it doesn't, if we do start to grow in population after AI takes over, or after life extension, you're suggesting after life extension, right?
Life extension, yeah.
But that's going to be 2037. Is that what we're suggesting? Ray Kurzweil's?
2030 was longevity escape velocity.
2030. Okay, so 2030.
Be on there.
That's 6 more years. I don't know. Man, I sure hope our population goes up, because that would say that we haven't nuked ourselves. That would say we haven't made a biological weapon that kills us all. That would say we haven't gone to any kind of major war and just decided to shoot each other, or anything, or asteroid hasn't hit us. So anything after that, that's fine. The population can grow, and we'll figure it out.
If the world population were stuck, I'd be buying right now.
Okay. It's not, because that's not what the market values. If that's what the market valued, you could buy a stock in it right now. So that's why I think the market is not aligned with humanity. It doesn't really value what we value most, the things we talk about. We could break it down into what individual things, if there was a life extension market, or a cluster of 500, Fortune 500 or whatever. Sure, maybe you can. Actually, maybe you can buy stocks. I'm sure Diamandis has a group that you can buy into.
And the thing is it's probably fair
but
to
have
say
you? Have you?
Well, see, here
Then you're not. You have not.
Any such investment would be very, very, very minutely leveraged. It would be so minutely leveraged that it would be not really an investment to make for the purposes of leverage. It would. There's
So your answer
more,
is no.
There's more leveraged investments that a person could make that are going to still be in line with world population.
If you say so. When you at the point where you're driving a Ferrari or hanging off the end of a yacht with whatever harem is, and I'm gonna at that point, because we've been at it for some time now, and you keep telling me the way it is and what stocks you'd buy into if that's the way it was, and I need some evidence, man, and all the evidence so far has pointed not that direction, or at least it pointed the direction that we obviously are not correct in something that would either A, reflect our ability to make money, or that B, the market actually reflects values and is something that guides humanity forward.
I may just be high on opium.
I think we missed on both of those counts and many more that we don't even see. And since we're not, see, the problem is the casino idea where, yes, there's always a winner, a big winner in a casino, but the casino always wins in the end. I think both of us have grand ideas. I think both of us have the same grand ideas that 90% of the people on the planet have to one form or another, but we're not the casino winner. We haven't rolled the dice and gotten lucky and been at the right place at the right time, made the right bet at the right time, knew the right people at the right time. We haven't hit that jackpot yet. And other people, which is the problem with the market and capitalism as I see it, is the people that do win consecutively have an inside deal. They
are
know
undeserving
the owners. No, not undeserving. They just know the owners of the casino, and so they get the inside deal on what games are soft, what games can be manipulated, what games can be bribed, and the rest of the patronage doesn't even know how to play the game that's in front of them. So they're just having fun, looking at the flashing lights, the bells and the whistles. But the people that make the money, the people that control everything, know how the game is run, know the people that are running it, and are already have a bunch of chips to deal with, to gamble. So I that's my issue. That's in a nutshell.
That sounds like a pretty good final summation. Frankly, I hate to cut this off. Is good, but I'm running late. So
awesome. Oh, sorry.
That seems.
Tell everybody hi.
Yeah, will.
Yep. I hope you're right, and I hope Trump is the one that brings stability to the universe. I sure hope we do. I just don't.
I hope me too. I hope that I'm not just high on hopium, and something will occur for both of us, because the yacht idea is kind of a thing that's near to my heart. I want that. I want that very badly.
I'll hang out on your yacht every once in a while.
We'll settle for not dying right now, and we'll work on that. Yeah.
Don't die. Don't die. To the best of our ability.
All right, dude. See everybody, all two of our listeners, and I love you. Have a great day,
Love you too, man. Be careful.